Don Lemon and his gaslighting ass finally crossed the line. You know, it was irritating enough this smug, obnoxious jerk rolls down the street with his little microphone and gaslights people he interviews with disinformation, calling himself an independent journalist. But he crossed the line now. This man and a mob of nuts purposely and willfully walked into a house of worship while people were worshiping, praying to God, listening to a message, engaged in their sacred traditions. A Christian church, mind you, and walked in there and disrupted it. And Don, don't you try to distance yourself from it, because yeah, initially I was like, is he doing journalism? And then I saw the footage before you went in. You supported what was happening. You celebrated what was happening. You kissed that crazed activist professor on the cheek. She's a law professor and she doesn't know about the FACE Act? Who the hell is she professing over? The FACE Act clearly states that you cannot disrupt a religious service because you're violating your rights. Don, you supported it.
You read that title right, ladies and gentlemen. Don Lemonade is totally screwed here because apparently a student has confessed to planning this church raid with Lemonhead. Okay, this wasn't just something where he just heard about it at the last minute and showed up to report on it. No, this was a conspiracy that he was directly a part of. Let's go ahead and react to a reporter here discussing it in greater detail. By the way, guys, there's a new feature on YouTube where you can hype videos. So be sure to like the video, hype the video. It helps out a lot. Appreciate you.
Arrest is drawing attention to what prosecutors say was Don Lemon's role in planning and recording the disturbing protest of demonstrators storming that Minnesota church service. A Temple University student has now surrendered on federal charges, admitting he helped Don Lemon with logistics and local contacts ahead of that anti-ICE protest. Jerome Richardson, a political science senior, turned himself in and is accused of conspiring to interfere with religious worship. Court records and social media posts show Richardson describing himself as assisting Don Lemon in the days leading up to the protest.
Wow.
Lemon, who claims he was just reporting, was arrested last week and released, but prosecutors say this new arrest undercuts that defense, suggesting planning and not just passive coverage.
And that's without getting into the fact that there's plenty of footage of him appearing to admit that this was something that he had pre-planned.
Let me do this. I can't see anything on
That's
that
okay,
side.
I got it. Just park. Just hit park.
Twitch, we're back. Sunday morning church.
Yeah, okay, we'll see. We're after we do this operation, you'll see it live. And these operations are surprise operations. Again, can't tell you where they're going. Okay, so I am going inside now. Where's my phone? I need my phone. Hey, Meta, record. In the church is what the First Amendment is about the freedom to protest. I'm sure people here don't like it, but protests are not comfortable. And there are people here who are, I'm looking at a young man who's in the corner, he's frightened, he's scared, he's crying. People are leaving church. One of the members who looks to be really upset, a young person, the pastor is trying to calm him down over there. That is what I could say. I turned the camera off of them because they're giving some critical information here. But there we go. Everybody's ready to go.
You don't think this is peaceful?
Well, it's trespass.
Nobody fighting.
It's trespass.
Yeah, that was interesting to watch. This guy here, look, he's hugging his kid. And, you know, I imagine it's uncomfortable and traumatic for the people. Uncomfortable and traumatic for the people here, but that's what really, that's what protesting is about. Did some reconnaissance on the ground, speaking to an organization there that's gearing up to for resistance and protest.
Now, a crucial question here is going to be whether or not they consider the activities that he partook in once he got there to be crucial, or the fact that he knew about what was going to happen. So if you know that someone's going to break into a church, and you know, which effectively is committing a crime, it's infringing upon their First Amendment rights. If him knowing about that is enough to say that he was conspiring against the church, I think it is. Let's hear a little bit more from Brett Baer and I don't know, some woman, maybe she's an attorney on Fox News. Let's get into this.
Yeah, so Don Lemon was part of a group of people that went in and interfered with a group of Christians' First Amendment rights to worship peacefully, which is protected by the First Amendment. Don Lemon is saying now he was just there as a journalist. But
and he's saying he was protected by the First Amendment for being a journalist. Yeah.
Right, but you don't actually have, just because you say you're a journalist or just because you're holding a camera does not mean that you get to participate in the commissioning of a crime, and that's something all journalists should know. There have been attacks on journalists, such as when David Daleiden, Kamala Harris went after him for his role in uncovering what Planned Parenthood had done with the trafficking of fetal human body parts. And you want to protect journalists, but being a journalist or saying that you're a journalist does not give you the right to interfere with people's First Amendment rights to worship. And he's on camera harassing the worshipers, being part of the effort to keep them terrified worshipers from being able to leave. He said he wanted to confront them with the facts about immigration enforcement. And so this is, his defense will be made, but it's not something that people should take lightly, this invasion of a worship space.
It's another element to the Minnesota back and forth.
No, it just adds more fuel to the fire, and I agree with Molly that it's a tension between the First Amendment, freedom of the press, the right to freedom, the right to report and to be on the scene and to have free speech, versus the right for worshipers at a church to be not threatened by activists storming into the service. And I think one of the big questions is a media question of what is a journalist these days? I mean, it used to be you have to have a credential. Obviously, Don Lemon worked for CNN for a long time, but anyone can call themselves a journalist if they have a phone and have a video camera, and that could lead to a lot of just dangerous implications where anyone can storm into a religious service because they're actually documenting something that they see as sinister or problematic. So there's a real journalistic integrity element here too. That Don Lemon has a Substack. There's other people who claim to be reporters, but are they actually really doing journalism?
Yeah, I think the key thing here, honestly, besides what I said earlier, is really going to come down to if it is related to like a jury or a judge decision. So if it's partisan, right? So if you got a bunch of woke lunatics, right? This took place in Minneapolis, Minnesota, right? So if they try to adjudicate this in Minnesota, then since they do tend to lean pretty left there, the jury pool might throw him a bone, and certainly the judges will. Now, if he has to get prosecuted somewhere else, then he might be cooked. It really just is going to depend, because we saw what happened with President Trump out in New York with this whole Stormy Daniels situation, where I think the majority of people in the country probably would not have found him guilty, but out there in New York, I mean, it seemed to be a pretty fast and unanimous decision. And I believe that absolutely was a partisan decision, where if he wasn't Trump, if he was just some other person, they would not have found him guilty. So do I think they will go easy on a left-wing lunatic like Don Lemon? Abso-freaking-lutely. But guys, what do you think of this student coming forward and saying that Don Lemon was a part of the conspiracy? He helped plan this event. Do you think that this is going to hold up, or are they going to try to destroy this poor kid's reputation so that basically his testimony will, just fall flat? They'll say, oh, he had some incentive, or they coerced him. I mean, I can hear the excuses coming up now, but let me know what you guys think. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate you guys watching. I'm out. Big shout out to my members, Cybernoodle, 655, Bella Scott, and Carpentier John. Could not do it without you.
Don Lemon showed any sense of remorse after this. If he said, well, I just got caught up in this, it was bad judgment, I apologize, maybe, just maybe, he would have the Justice Department saying something different today. But this Don Lemon, he doubled down, he tripled down, he quadrupled down, and tried to say that he was there as a journalist when the videos are so clear what he was doing. His own statements on video after he did this show his mental culpability, his mental state for all this. He admitted his criminal culpability for all this. He admitted he targeted this church because of their Christian faith. He admitted he targeted this church because of the race of the congregants. Right? This is textbook base acts, and this is textbook plan acts. So Don Lemon can go to hell, and in the meantime, Pam Bondi is going to send his ass to prison.